Joining us now from St. Louis, Democratic Senator Claire McCaskill of Missouri. Claire, thank you so much for getting up early for us. You are marching this weekend, and I would love for you to talk about the importance of those marches. A lot of women came from far and wide, not just the Northeastern Corridor, to march in cities across the country. What's the opportunity here for the Democratic Party?
Well, what struck me about Saturday was, not the first time I've been surprised in the last 6 months, but I was shocked at how organic this was and how enormous the outpouring was. In St. Louis, they had 11,000 RSVPs, and I am sure it was at least double that. And I met women that day from Hannibal, Missouri, and families from Cape Girardeau, and families from Sikeston. This wasn't just St. Louisans. And, you look across this country, in a little town in Idaho that has like 100 people, 30 people marched. And this was not some giant organization that was top down. This came from the bottom up.
So, Claire,
and so I hope Donald Trump pays attention.
Yeah, to what end? To what end, Claire, do you hope these marches went off the way they did?
I frankly said in a very short remarks to the crowd in St. Louis, hey, quit yelling at the TV and let this not be the last time you use some shoe leather. And we will be trying very hard to capture this energy and make sure it translates into volunteers and door knocking and all of the things that are really necessary for us to fight, particularly with Citizens United, the amount of dark money that is going to flow into these midterm elections.
So, Claire, the question that a lot of people were asking on television on Saturday, and people in the marches were acknowledging, was that this was a very moving and powerful day. It was for my daughter. I'm very excited that she saw some parts of it, not others. But first of all, the president asked, where were they on November 8th? We thought we had the election. And I guess the bigger question is, how do people in this march make sure that history doesn't repeat itself? Because it's not like they didn't know who Donald Trump was before November 8th. How do they make sure they don't repeat the same mistake this off-year election that's been repeated in disastrous results for Democrats in 10 and 14?
I had one of the women that was from rural Missouri at the march run up and grab me by the hand at one point. Everybody was grabbing. It was terrific. She grabbed me by the hand. She was, I feel so guilty. I just assumed he wouldn't win. I could have done more. I should have done more. And there was a lot of that in the crowd. I mean, I do think some of this outpouring is a sense of responsibility that way too many people were not paying close enough attention, that there were a whole lot of people in America that Donald Trump was talking to that didn't hear our side. And that's why I want to make sure that we don't get caught up in gender politics or ethnic politics. We got to get caught up in making sure that we are communicating to Americans that with repeal of Obamacare, the tax cut that's coming, not one dime of that tax cut will go to anybody who makes under $200,000.
Exactly. So
let me repeat that. Not one dime of the tax cut that they are going to enact with the repeal of Obamacare will go to people who make under $200,000.
So, Joe, let me, because we talked about this a little bit before the show, and I totally heard you. I think that there has to be some fairness in terms of translating for both sides. We translate for Trump a lot. We know what he means a lot when people sometimes are going for the shiny objects. So I would suggest that those who are skeptical about the marches don't listen to Madonna saying F you and talking about blowing. Don't look at the shiny objects. Look at the millions of women who care about equal pay, who care about women's health, who care about Obamacare staying in place and getting better, who care about those tax cuts going to the right people, not the wrong people, who care about the environment, and who care about the Democratic Party organizing for the future. Because that's what happened on Saturday. As we translate for Trump a lot, because that has been necessary at times, because the media has been way off, I think these marches need to be put in perspective, and this president needs to address these people. I really believe it.
Agreed. Mark Halperin.
Senator, just ask you to be a notch more specific of someone who marched this weekend and wants this week to impact what's going on in Washington, not running for school board down the road, what would you like people to do immediately to affect the current debates in Washington?
I would like them to go on my website and volunteer for my campaign.
Yeah,
See, she's
exactly.
honest. She is honest. Well, which, of course, a campaign
Damn
that's being
right.
run in a state that Donald Trump won by how many points?
He won by 18 or 19.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm kidding, but I'm not kidding.
Exactly.
The organizing matters. And especially if you live in a small community, if you live in a rural county in America, you should begin today to try to find other people in your community that are willing to talk plainly about what really is going to happen in the Trump administration. You know, I was up on that dais. I'm not sure there's ever been big donors invited to the congressional lunch. I looked around and I saw names that I'm sure most Americans would never recognize, but they are billionaires in our country, all over the podium up there during the swearing in.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying there aren't big donors on the Democratic side. Of course there are. But the point is, if people think this agenda is going to be all about working people in this country, I don't think they're paying attention, and we need folks out there talking to other people and showing them the hypocrisy of some of Donald Trump's actions after many of the promises he made.
Eddie.
Eddie.
Senator McCaskill.